Alright. Hello everyone. Seems whatever major problems I've always had with this game, or recording, is fixed. So awesome! Anyway, Metal Gear Solid 3! Ah, boy. Okay. For the record, I like Metal Gear Solid 1. It was a good game. Metal Gear Solid 3 is probably the best of the series. But I have to go liking Metal Gear Solid 2 just because of the funky, the great opening for it. I didn't know this when I first bought this game, and it's like I've only played Metal Gear Solid 2 at the time, so here's what happens. And we'll go normal. I ain't no punk. I ain't going easy. But I'm a pro, so I ain't going hard either.
The world was split into two, East and West. This marked the beginning of the era called the Cold War.
Yep. I should have got myself a drink. I may have spoken too soon about the audio. Oh, no. It's not as bad as it was. At least not on my end. I can't hear it. If you're hearing it, tell me. It sounds pretty good, fine to me. Yeah, Foxhound!
Flying over Pakistan. Altitude 30,000 feet.
Approaching Soviet airspace.
20 minutes to drop off.
Commencing internal depressurization. Equipment check. Arm main parachute.
All right. You ready to go?
Drop zone still showing a high pressure mass. Cav okay.
Good. We've got high visibility.
I didn't catch what Cav OK meant. I will when I rewatch. It's like those little bits and pieces of this whatever screws up.
Connecting oxygen hose to interior connector. Put on your mask.
It's goddamn writing.
Does this panty waste know what he's doing?
That penny waste is Snake, you bitch.
10 minutes to drop off.
Hey, are you deaf?
He said put out the cigar and put on your mask.
Pointless slow-mo.
Depressurization complete.
Checking oxygen supply.
6 minutes to drop off. Opening rear hatch.
Metal Gear Solid. Oh, I don't think I've ever saw that on the helmet before.
External temperature minus 46 degrees Celsius. 2 minutes to drop off. Stand up.
You'll be falling at 130 miles per hour. Try not to get frostbite from the wind chill.
1 minute to drop off. Move to the rear.
Activate bailout model.
This is one for the history books. The world's first Halo jump.
10 seconds to drop off. Stand by. Status okay.
This is a really good opening.
Prepare for drop off. Countdown. 5.
I mean, all the other, it's so different from how the first one's gone, where you go through the water, and this one you're dropping out on a goddamn plane. And doing major flips. It's like the opening of a Power Rangers movie.
Jack, I've got some important news. The head of the CIA has finally given us the green light for the virtuous mission.
Virtual mission?
Virtual
No,
mission.
Virtuous mission. The future of our Fox
Ah.
depends on it. If it succeeds, we'll be officially organized into a unit.
Virtuous mission?
Yes, virtuous mission.
Initiation ritual.
Now, don't get cocky. This isn't a training op.
Ha!
Right. So what exactly is this wonderful mission?
Well,
This wonderful mission.
About 2
A
years
mission of
ago.
wonderful things.
a certain Soviet scientist requested asylum in the West through one of our moles. His name is Nikolai Stepanovich Sokolov.
Why would you put?
He's head of the
Why would you build platforms that are spaced so that you could fall through?
research facilities, and the East's foremost expert on weapons development.
Sokolov. Isn't he that famous rocket scientist?
The very same. On April the 12th, 1961, the Soviets achieved the first manned spaceflight in history.
The Earth was blue, but there was no God.
Well spoken. The rocket that carried Yuri
I guess that's what he said.
A1, known as the Vostok rocket. Sokolov is said to be the man most responsible for the multi-engine cluster used in that rocket. After Gagarin's flight, Sokolov left rocket development, become the head of the newly established design bureau.
From a lowly technician to head of a design bureau, that's quite a success story. So why do you want to defect?
It seems he'd become afraid of his own creations.
As most scientists.
Call it a crisis of conscience.
And for that, he left his country and his family behind and went over the fence?
Not exactly. One of his conditions was that his family was also to be taken safely to the west. He used a mole to get the family out first, and succeeded in sneaking Sokolov over the Berlin Wall shortly afterwards. I was the one who conducted the operation.
Lots of history in here, people.
Side was still full of holes back then. Then what?
We got Sokolov over in one piece, but the whole ordeal had left him exhausted, and we checked him into a hospital in West Berlin. It took him 2 weeks and more than 600 miles to get from the research facility in the Soviet Union to Berlin. He was in no condition to say anything coherent. And it was only a week later that we had something much bigger on our hands.
The
Oh.
crisis.
October the 16th, 1960.
Yeah, I've never really paid much attention to this piece. Oh, this piece I have, but the piece where he was already crossed over and hadn't said anything. It'll be important later.
A naval blockade to prevent further missile shipments from reaching Cuba. But the Soviets didn't back down, instead placing their armed forces on secondary alert. Soviet transport ships carrying missiles continued on course towards Cuba. US and Soviet forces went on alert for an all-out nuclear war. Frantic negotiations were conducted through the UN's Emergency Security Council and unofficial channels to end the hair-trigger standoff. Finally, on October the 28th, the Soviet Union agreed to remove its missiles from Cuba, and so the world avoided a nuclear holocaust. But in order to get the Soviets to pull their missiles out, we had to make a deal.
You mean the one where the US agreed to remove its IRBMs from Turkey?
No. The Jupiter IRBMs deployed in Turkey were obsolete, and we were going to get rid of them anyway. They had no strategic value whatsoever to either the US or the Russians. The Turkey deal was a ruse, a cover story that was fed to the other intelligence agencies around the world.
So what did the Russians really want?
Sokolov.
Sokolov. They wanted us to return Sokolov.
You mean the Soviets pulled out of Cuba just to get their hands on Sokolov?
That's right.
What the hell was he working on?
At the time, we had no idea.
Now we
were
do.
running out of time. It was either give up Sokolov or risk full-scale nuclear war. In the end, we had no choice. President Kennedy gave in to Khrushchev's demand. The next day, I got Sokolov out of the hospital, handing him over to agents on the eastern side. Sokolov kept on screaming to save me until he disappeared from my sight.
Poor
Then a month
Sokolov.
ago, we received some new information from one of our moles.
About Sokolov?
Yes. He was taken back to the research facility and forced to continue working on the weapon in question under KGB supervision. What's more, it's on the verge of completion.
So what kind of weapon is it? Something to do with space rockets?
No. Missiles.
Come on, Snake.
I guess you're right. We don't know the details, but it appears to be a new kind of nuclear device. For half a year now, the Soviets have been conducting frequent nuclear tests at Semipalatinsk.
Something to do with the weaponized.
Actually, you know, this is a good time to be doing a game based in Russia, due to the recent crazy shit that's been going on in Russia.
No.
With the sinkholes that look like monsters came out of them.
3 miles to the west, it's known as
Russia's about to just implode on itself or something.
Nice name for a virtuous mission.
They moved him there just recently.
Why?
Apparently, they're conducting a field test of the weapon, but it's our best chance to get him back. This mission would never have been possible if he was still in the research facility. This is our last chance. Sokolov must have known that too when he contacted us.
Alright, I have no control over camera. Oh.
Listen up, Jack. Your mission is to infiltrate Selino-Yask in the Soviet mountains, ensure
Yeah, now I do.
Sokolov and bring him back to the west. If we don't get Sokolov back before that weapon is complete, we'll be facing a major crisis. The clock is ticking.
Boosh.
Once we've confirmed the rescue of Sokolov, stand by at the
There's...
recovery point.
Yep,
The recovery
Foxhound.
balloon will be dropped at that point.
Or just Fox.
Helium will be pumped into the balloon to inflate it. The process takes about 20 minutes. Once it's complete, the gunship's arm will latch onto the balloon and pull it up.
The Fulton surface-to-air recovery system. I'm familiar with the theory.
Take it easy. It's been combat-proof.
Do you think Sokolov is up to it?
The shock
Oh,
will be
who
less
wouldn't want to
than
get
a
strapped
parachute
onto a
round,
rocket
allowing
balloon?
around Up to 500 pounds.
So you're planning on going over the border in a single combat talent?
She's equipped with 2 6-barrel 20mm Vulcan cannons, as well as 2 40mm machine guns.
Sounds like she could hold her own against a battalion of tanks.
Even with the fuel in the reserve tank, we're facing a 4-hour time limit. If all goes well, it shouldn't take more than a few hours.
Home in time for dinner.
But if anything goes
Yeah,
wrong,
one of those are,
Eating dinner, breakfast,
and all the rest of your meals in the jungle.
sounds delish. There are a lot of, like, blooper cutscenes for this. And they're all great. Boom. Oh, no, no. Yeah. So cool. And it's right in. Old school codex.
Do you copy? You're already in enemy territory. somebody might be listening in. From here on out, we'll be using code names to refer to each other.
I want to be Walla Walla,
You'll be
Washington.
Naked Snake. I'll be referring to you as Snake from now on. You're not to mention your real name.
Snake?
Well, you don't like snakes?
What do you mean?
You've eaten one before, haven't you?
In survival training?
And we're going to be eating one as soon as we can.
I don't know if I'd ever order one at a restaurant, but...
Be careful, you might not have a choice.
What about you, Major? What should I call you?
Let's see. I'll be Tom. Call me Major Tom. Oh, and Snake.
Yeah.
The crew isn't watching anymore. You can take off the disguise.
This is such a fun,
This is right.
such a
Time for the snake to shed its skin.
such a ridiculous scene, but it's so good. So Metal Gear. And granted, without this scene, an objective later on in the game would make absolutely no sense. I guess now I can call him back after taking my mask off.
Can you hear me, Major Tom? This is Snake. Kept you waiting, huh?
This will be a sneaking mission.
No,
Not be seen.
duh.
You must leave no trace of your presence. Is that clear? Of
I...
infiltration is the Fox unit to set you up.
Ugh.
Weapons and equipment are procure on site. That goes for food as well. You're completely naked, just as your name implies.
Great. Now I see why you asked me if I liked snakes. I suppose calling me Snake was your idea of a joke, too.
No. There's a good reason for that. I'll tell you later when the time is right.
Gotcha. Getting back
I
to the subject,
bookmarked
how
this.
exactly am I supposed to feed myself?
You've been issued a knife and a tranquilizer gun. Use them to hunt for food. You'll also find some medical supplies in your backpack.
Yeah, about the backpack. I lost it in a tree on the way down.
I see. Well, you'd better go back and get it then. You know where it is?
No problem. I can see it from here. It's stuck on a branch.
Well then.
To climb a tree, stand in front of the tree that's covered in ivy and press the action button.
Action button.
I'll be monitoring your progress on the radio. You can't risk violating Soviet airspace, but I'll be in the gunship. My frequency is 140.85. I'll give you a call if I need to talk to you. If you need to talk to me, use the send function. Okay, Snake, go get your backpack.
Get ready for school, Snake. Here. Something delicious is nearby. Yeah! Yeah, got the backpack.
I see you've retrieved your
How?
backpack.
No. You have no possible way of knowing I received my backpack.
It's necessary to take it out of your backpack. In the survival viewer, choose weapon from the backpack. Your available weapons will be...
How are you spying on me?
Upper left. From that list, choose the weapon you want to equip and press the enter button. For other equipped items, just do the same thing from item.
Got it. Use the survival viewer backpack.
Backpack,
Yep, that's
backpack. Backpack,
Survival is
backpack.
fundamental to
Yeah!
this mission. After you've been out in the field for a while, your stamina will start to drop. If your stamina gets too low, it'll affect your performance. You won't be able to shoot accurately, for example, and your wounds won't heal as smoothly. Keep an eye on your stamina so you don't run out. To recover lost stamina, you can hunt for local flora and
Alright, got a snake.
you can use either your tranquilizer gun or your knife to hunt.
My only weapon is a Mark 22
Hush puppy.
gun.
That's right. It's been fitted with its own suppressor. However, the suppressor will deteriorate every time you fire. Once its durability reaches 0, the noise suppression effect will be gone. So don't get too trigger happy with it. The suppressor's durability is shown in the icon. Any weapons and equipment beyond what you're carrying now, you'll have to find as you go.
I have to find my own weapons and equipment. Whose crazy idea was
The crazy idea of
Solo covert
you have to
actions
be
are standard Fox
in
operating
enemy territory in a Cold War,
any traces of your
which could annihilate,
no weapons,
escalate into a nuclear war.
totally waste. The same goes for bullets and
Wait, no,
cartridges.
no, hold on, wait. I'm supposed to not have
Crossing enemy
footprints?
territory is already a violation of international conventions of
Yeah.
warfare. There aren't supposed to be any American soldiers in Russia. It could spark an international incident.
Yeah.
You can't let anyone see you. You can't let the enemy know you're there. This is a stealth mission. You're a ghost, Snake, in every sense of the word.
Why wasn't my code name or Ghost?
The military and U.S. government.
Why couldn't they just be Naked Ghost?
Then I'll just have to take care of myself, huh?
I'm afraid so. You've been given a fake death pill for that purpose. SIS guidelines stipulate that soldiers on covert ops like this one be issued a potassium cyanide capsule. Tape it to your body so you can take it when you need to.
How generous of you.
Wow.
Use it if you're taken prisoner by the enemy. Send you into a state of false death for a short time.
Fooling them into thinking that I'm really dead. So, how do I come back to life?
Just take the revival pill.
You mean that thing they put in my tooth before the mission?
That's the one. But be careful. If you remain in a state of false death for too long, nothing will be able to bring you back. Remember that.
I'll keep it in mind. You said this was a solo mission, right?
Right.
I guess that means I can't count on any reinforcements.
Correct. The mission rests.
That's kind of what solo mission means, man.
Real one-man army.
Relax. There's a support team.
Well, no, hey, that is reinforcement. Okay.
Who?
I'll introduce them to you. This time, survival.
I guess maybe not
is important.
reinforcements.
Just
There
the
are
support
support.
team will be in charge of monitoring your physical condition,
How?
so to speak, as well as recording your mission data. She's a member of Fox as well, and she's here on the gunship with me.
She.
Hello, Snake. I'm paramedic. Nice to meet you.
Paramedic.
As in a medic who comes in by parachute.
Aren't you going to tell me your real name?
Are you going to tell me yours?
I was informed not.
My name, huh? It's John Doe.
And they call you Jack for short. You're a regular Captain Nemo.
A name means nothing on the battlefield. After a week, no one has a name. What's your name?
Jane.
Ha.
Very funny.
I wasn't joking, but I'll tell you my name only if you manage to make it back alive. My frequency is 145.73.
She's also in charge of recording your mission.
So
data.
she's my
If you want to
Rose.
save, send a message over the reserved save frequency, 140.96.
So saving lets me record my mission data.
That's right. It also records the state of your health.
Good to know.
There's one more person I want to introduce you to, Snake. Speaking of snakes, you remember the boss, don't you? A legendary soldier and your mentor.
Yeah.
Actually, it was the boss that got the DCI's authorization in the first place. She's going to be serving as Fox's mission advisor.
Boss is?
She also helped me plan this mission. She and I were at SAS together.
Cool.
Jack,
Hey!
that's you. How many years has it been?
Boss?
That's right. It's me. Talk to me. Let me hear your voice.
It's been 5 years, 72 days, and 18 hours.
You've lost weight.
You can tell just by the sound of my voice.
Of course I can. I
God,
know
boss,
all
you're
about
so
you.
awesome.
Really? Well, I don't know anything about you.
What's that supposed to mean?
Why'd you disappear on me all of a sudden?
I was on a top secret mission. You didn't need me anymore.
But there were still so many things I wanted you to teach me.
No, I taught you everything you needed to know about fighting techniques. I taught you all I could. The rest you needed to learn on your own.
Techniques, sure. But what about how to think like a soldier?
That's
How to think
something
like a
you
soldier? I
learn
can't
on your
teach you
own.
that. A soldier needs to be strong in spirit, body, and technique. And the only thing you can learn from someone else is technique. In fact, technique doesn't even matter. What's most important is spirit. Spirit and body are like two sides of a single coin. They're the same thing.
So
I
then,
can't teach you how to think. You'll
all I
just
need
have
is
to
body
figure
and
it out for
technique?
yourself. Listen to me, Jack. Just because soldiers are on the same side right now doesn't mean they always will be. Having personal feelings about your comrades is one of the worst sins you can commit. Politics determine who you face on the battlefield. And politics are a living thing. They change along with the times. Yesterday's good might be tomorrow's evil.
Major, shouldn't you be like intervening on
It had nothing to do
some
with
of this?
I already told you, Jack. I was on a top-secret mission. A soldier has to follow whatever orders he's given. It's not his place to question why. But you're looking for a reason to fight. You are a natural-born fighter, but you're not quite a soldier. A soldier is a political tool and nothing more. That's doubly true if he's a career soldier. Right and wrong have no place in his mission. He has no enemies and no friends. Only the mission. You follow the orders you're given. That's what being a soldier is.
I do whatever I have to get the job done. I don't think about
Me
politics.
That's not the same thing. Sooner or later, your conscience is going to bother you. In the end, you have to choose whether you're going to live as a soldier or just another man with a gun. There's a saying in the Orient, loyalty to the end. Do you know what it means?
Well, I don't think it's actually
It means devoting yourself to
said as loyalty into
I
the
follow
end.
the
Probably has
president and the top
some
brass. I'm
oriental
ready to die for them.
phrase to it,
the president
which has a
and the top
different
brass
meaning,
won't be there forever.
possibly.
Once their terms are up, others will take their place.
I follow the will of the leader, no matter who's in charge.
People aren't the ones who dictate the missions.
Then who does?
The times. People's values change over time, and so do the leaders of a country.
Major Tom just needs to come
There's
in,
no
like,
such thing as
hey,
an enemy
guys,
in absolute
mission.
terms. The enemies we
I
fight
know
are only
you haven't
enemies
seen each
in
other in
relative
5
terms,
years, you have said,
constantly changing with the times.
but we have a short window of opportunity here.
As long as we have loyalty to the end, there's no point in believing in anything, even in those we love.
And that's the way a soldier's supposed to think.
Oh my God, you guys, you could talk about this shit on the way home.
Is the mission, Jack.
All right, but do me a favor.
What is it?
Call me Snake.
Snake. Oh, right. Your code name is Snake. It suits you.
It does?
That's right. The legendary unit that the boss put together during World War II was a
What?
snake.
Oh,
Cobra unit. A group of heroes that brought the war to an end and saved the world. As long as you've got a legendary hero backing you up, you'll be fine. Isn't that right, Snake?
Yeah, I can't think of anyone else I'd rather have with me. Oh, and one more thing, boss.
Yes,
It's good to hear your voice again.
same here. After all, who knows if either of us will make it out alive?
well, aren't you
Snake,
bleak?
You are always best at urban warfare and infiltrating buildings. But this is the jungle. Survival is going
Why
to
do
be
we
key.
decide this guy to the
CQC
mission
techniques
then?
I taught you are sure to come in handy.
CQC. Close quarters combat, huh? I've been in the Green Berets for the past few years. I'm probably pretty rusty.
Not to worry. I'll be here to help you remember. After all, this is your first actual survival mission.
Why
I'll
is
be
this
patrolling
important
over
mission
the
sent to
village.
someone who has
Where are
no
you, boss?
survival
The boss
experience?
is communicating with us by radio from aboard a Permit-class submarine in the Arctic Ocean.
My frequency is 141.80. Call me if you need my advice on battle techniques.
Gotcha.
Your mission is to retrieve Dr. Sokolov.
Well, yeah, I knew that,
Dr.
like,
Sokolov is being held in an abandoned factory.
good half hour ago.
Your current position. Avoid heavy combat and don't let anyone see you. Don't forget that this
Stealth
is a
mission.
stealth mission.
Okay.
Snake, try to remember some of the basics of CQC.
God. CQC.
Commencing virtuous mission now.
Are we?